Great. So welcome to the chaos experiment. This weekend, we'll be testing the hypothesis of a bottoms-up agent-based market as a tool in the energy transition, looking for beauty in chaos, so like you see on the screen here. And our theory is that hypotheses cannot be proven, they can only be disproven. So that's why we're embracing the chaos of the energy market. With the increase in renewable energy, everything's becoming decentralized. And instead of just a few major actors, you have thousands of actors, all with competing financial incentives and more aligned social incentives. So that's why we're releasing chaos into the system, to see if the smart energy trading agents with competing incentives can really be used for distributed optimization of the grid. So we have three teams here, three teams who are going to be doing energy trading, and then the DSO team, prices DSO team, who will be changing grid fees in simulations 3 and 4. And the teams have worked really hard over the past week to create a smart energy trading bots, which will be trading in live simulations, live collaborations, competing to reduce their energy bills with competing incentives, but also increase the overall community self-sufficiency and try and benefit the grid. So we'll be measuring the impact of these smart strategies on the overall performance of the grid, both live, and we'll do a more in-depth report at the end of this. So before we go further, let's meet the community that we'll be actually trading on today. So this is the community. It looks very small right now until we expand it. We have a market maker, which is representing the typical utility, selling at 30 cents per kilowatt hour and buying energy at 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And then under the grid, we have this zip code, which contains two communities. Community B is a set of 25 houses that are all dumb, meaning that they have no renewable energy, they have invested nothing in storage, they're just loads buying from the grid. And this is trying to help us understand, if we have a dumb community, can they benefit from energy trading, smart, intelligent energy trading in a smart community that's nearby? So that's just kind of a control that we're looking at. And then in community A, this is where the magic happens, we have each team will be controlling 4 or 5 houses, each with a combination of load, PV, and storage. Some have just load, some have just PVs and load. And each of these is going to be trading in the energy market for its energy requirements. So the load here will be trying to buy energy as cheaply as possible based on the market prices. PV is trying to sell all of its generation as expensive as possible and make the most money. And then the storage is the most interesting because that's our source of flexibility. So the storage can, instead of buying right when energy is available at the beginning of the day, predict that the prices will be cheaper in the middle of the day when there's a lot of excess generation, and then sell that back to the grid. And that should shift our peak and make everybody on this call happy by smoothing that out a little bit. So this community was modeled after real load and PV profiles that were shared with us by a collectively owned energy community in the south of Germany, AWS Schonau. So thanks to them for sharing. We chose the data set and the March timeline for the actual simulation because it has the best match between generation and load profiles. But the teams had 2 months of data to trade on, so they could get a feel for how the community uses energy. So this is the first step in a series of virtual and live experiments that will lead to the deployment of the D3A in live communities and enable us to trade energy with each other in the real world. We see these changes occurring in the energy space. So initiatives like all the pilot projects by the partners who you'll meet shortly, and technologies like Tesla's AutoBidder, for example, are proving the need for a scalable energy market exchange platform to interact with. We expect chaos. We expect things to work differently than planned, and we want open feedback so we can help continue building this thing in the right direction, which will involve input from everybody that's on this call and more. Okay, so let's go through and introduce our teams, and then we'll go to the panel. So if the team captains would introduce themselves, we can start with Greenlytics, and then we'll go to OLI and VUCA, and then the DSO team. So Greenlytics.
Of course, thank you for that. Okay, hey everyone. My name is Bastian Holmgren. I'm CEO of Greenlytics. We're the Greenlytics team. Very happy to be here with the Grid Singularity in the chaos experiment. Interesting to see how this will go, unleashing the chaos. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to say anything more about our approach or anything, or do we take that later?
Yeah, we'll do that later. So an introduction for now is fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I'm here with my team members, Vincent, DeHay, and Elias. They're all in the call as well.
Great. OLI.
Felix is not here right now, our team captain, so I'll be doing the introductions. So hi everyone, my name is Mukund and we are the OLI Systems team. And yeah, I'm here with Godwin and Jan from Siemens. Thank you.
Great. And Vuka.
Hi everyone, I'm Can Arslan. So VUCA is a team of 3 different companies, Inavitas and Photon and VUCA. So VUCA is focused on the modeling and predictions. Inavitas is a company that's producing IoT devices and also optimizing the data. And as Photon, I'm leading them to join this experiment, and we are looking forward to perform. Thank you.
Great. And our priceless DSO team.
So we're here currently with 5 with Hans, Arjen, Frank, and Jan, and we're all working within the grid operator, so we should know lots about tariffs and pricing of the tariffs. So hopefully this experience will be useful during this hackathon. We're excited to start and join with this experiment.
Perfect. Great. So now we will introduce our partners. So I'll hand it over to Ed and Rutger.
Yeah, a big hi from my side. I have multiple screens shifting here from left to right, from Miro to Slack to Disarray already. So it's I can feel like it is like a hacking environment. So in a couple of minutes, when we start this, we will basically have all the teams firing in bids and asks, and I'm really curious to see how this will, if we can maintain the chaos, the order in the chaos here. And so you can imagine I'm being a bit nervous. But really cool to see this happening. And so I'm very thankful that we have Etienne from Engie joining us in this in this crazy idea, which we started brainstorming on how could we build a bottom-up market, how could we actually bring everyone together, the grid operators, the open free market. How could we enable a system that where we can imagine 100% renewables, or here we finally are, and I'm very happy that Etienne from Engie and our partners from all the DSOs, from Netherlands, which is amazing, under Jan's leadership from Stedin, have joined us, and also E.ON, which is the largest DSO in Germany, close to 40% of the network. Thanks a lot for the trust, and actually also for the guts, to join this chaos experiment here. So maybe, this all started, besides developing the concept, this all started actually with Rutger. Rutger and I, we met at the last year hackathon, where it still was very physical, and I was walking through his halls of the hackathon and saw hundreds of ideas developing at the same time, and that's basically where I couldn't get enough of this, because we saw so many heads, which were sticking together, trying to develop something. It looked like chaos. It literally looked like chaos, and so. When we brainstorm at that time, hey, can we do this actually for a whole energy market? Because we developed some system there, that actually embraces agent-based chaotic behavior, or tries to bring order into it. So maybe now, Rutger, maybe you want to share some words from your side how this all developed before we go into chaos.
Yes, and very happy to be here with you at this very interesting chaos experiment. To me, this is one of the most exciting projects I've ever seen happening, because you managed to bring together different worlds that would normally not meet, and I think that's why it's such a good match with Odyssey as well. This is very much of the core of our DNA. We have not just the teams and all these business partners, but it's also a continental effort, you could almost say. It's definitely, when we look at are there potential breakthroughs, and what are the ingredients that could cause breakthroughs, then they are definitely present here. There is an exponential improvement in fundamental technologies that you are combining, and that you are figuring out with all sides of the market, to see how something emerged that is at least 10 times better. And this is why this is so exciting. There is
it has to work first, right? Let's see if we can, if
there's only if you have the freedom, if you feel the freedom together to try this, right? And to see what can happen in a space of sheer possibility, where you can do experimentation, where you can be continuously adaptive. And that's why it's also very cool that you're using Miro to host the whole chaos experiment, right? So this is so exciting, especially in these times where we cannot physically meet, that you're now pulling off together with the partners, with the teams that are collaborating, this event that will give you all the information you want to have to move forward and make a new level possible of what you want to test and try out, even at Momentum in November. So I think the extra time that we have because of the corona and because of all the progress you've also made, this is an extremely exciting step you are making this weekend.
To be honest, I'm fairly happy from the perspective that the hackathon got postponed for us, because now we have this virtual run and we have way more features in the software, and the teams are more trained. And after this virtual run, we will brainstorm with the teams, how can we actually now get closer to reality, so that in November we can do something really, really groundbreaking, and hopefully with something in real time, with real data. So therefore, as you said, actually right now we will be using 4 platforms at the same time. So we have this video stream right now, we have Miro for the feedback, we have chat on the Slack side, and then we have D3A for the chaos. So 4 screens to jump in between. So maybe I would like to come back to our partners, and at the end, maybe could you, I actually get a lot of questions. Why does Engie support something like this? Because the classical perception is like Engie is a utility, and if this experiment works and it goes into this direction, the perception outside is at least, the key performance indicator of utility is produce cheap, sell high. And now you have 25 people sitting here, which will demonstrate that through an algorithm. Maybe at the end, the outside perception is like you're pushing something that could disrupt your KPI. Maybe could you could you give us a little bit from your perspective why you're supporting this and why you? Thanks.
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone, and thanks, Ed. The story goes back maybe 20 years ago already, when we were interested in local energy production, at the time through natural gas, through new technologies such as fuel cells, for instance, to produce combined heat and power. But of course, that went into a direction towards more disturbance on the energy grids. Then came the renewable, then came the flexibility from batteries. So all in all, we recognized quite a long time ago that complexity at local level was ever increasing. And our hope was that the complexity or sophistication of digital tools would help mediate or solve any problematic issues. And so here we are today with a setup that should demonstrate that the local complexity can be managed so that we don't fall into the chaos. Or not. So that's why I'm very, very excited to see how it pans out. And we are motivated because we are convinced that we have a role to play locally, if not retailing energy as we used to do, at least manage expectations and needs of our local customers. So we are experimenting, and as a matter of fact, I'm happy also to announce that just about 2 weeks ago, we launched officially our French energy community experimentations on an island called Île Dieu, between the UK and France. And I will post a link to some documentations if you care to see it. It's unfortunately in French because it's a very French initiative. It's what is particular is that it is built and operated by the actual business unit selling energy normally in France. So it's not a research proof of concept. It's not even an initiative by me only working in innovation. It is an actual minimum viable product being for the first time sold to a community of our customers. It involves about 20 homes with a central fairly large battery. And of course, the use case is a collective self-consumption. It has no market mechanisms to transact between all of them, but it has all the key technology ingredients in terms of IoTs, boxes, and all the hardware and the local software to manage at least this simple use case. So what you are going to try today is already the next step, I guess, but we are following concretely and very seriously and considering that this is the future. So very excited to participate, to sponsor, and very curious of the results.
Thanks a lot, Etienne. So yeah, I'm curious to read. I hope we can get this side to mix a bit of Python into the French to bring. So yeah, thanks a lot, Etienne. And now coming back to our friends from Netherlands, all the DSOs under the leadership of Jan. And Arjen, Jan, could you maybe describe, a bit your perspective, because you're coming from the grid side and you are there to keep the order and you are running mission critical infrastructure, and now we are here, you know, bringing chaos into this, or let's say. I could also translate the word chaos into freedom for the final consumer, freedom in trading, and but this, of course, might end up in the chaos. And you know, what do you expect from resulting from this? Because you know, it was actually you who came up with flexible grid tariffs. Could we add this into this? And you know, from my experience. Even mentioning they are not very popular currently. Yeah. Jan, you there? We neither hear you or see you. Well, I would then also lead this question further to Key and to Samuel from E.ON. Because in Germany, I mean, this concept is, I mean, looking from the regulator perspective, is I think the only word that the classical response I got from presenting it is, yeah, this is sci-fi. So you know, so you guys are supporting sci-fi here, and how, you know, can you give me kind of your perspective? You know, what you expect and how you believe this can be translated into reality later. Key.
Yeah, with pleasure. So, I mean, primarily we decided to participate in the Odyssey hackathon to learn, because we know we understood that we have to experiment with new technologies like open source, DLT, and AI to make the grid become more sophisticated. And coming back to the energy community topic, we want to understand how we can implement local energy community aspects into new trading schemes. And what you have mentioned, Ed, the democratic view. So at the end of the day, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe in 3 or 5 years, I would love to see a world where all participants can access and benefit from a very open and inclusive market design. So that's why Odyssey and you guys, it brings us an excellent opportunity to test and validate new ideas, how an agent-based bottom-up market design could work. And of course, there is the risk that we disrupt ourselves. But so I prefer to learn and to be part of that journey instead of just looking at it in a very silent mode. And besides of that, I'd also like to mention that back then, when I was still with Engie, that quite recently got acquired by E.ON, we have established the largest corporate venture fund for early stage blockchain investments, where we did, I think, 9 investments in Polkadot, EWF, BigChainDB, and others. So we truly believe that we have to focus on these more neutral IoT protocols to allow different participants to access the energy market design of the future. So really curious about the results, and yeah, I enjoy the chaos experiment today.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Guy. Jan, did you hear me previously, or?
Yeah, we heard a part of it. So it ended somewhere when you talked about chaos and the DSOs and what it means. So I will try to answer that and introduce ourselves. So
cool. Thanks a lot.
Well, first of course, thank you for organizing this and enabling this event. Well, chaos is the worst nightmare for DSOs, because maybe, I don't know if you can see where we are. We are in an old transformer station from Enexis, over 60 years old. It has been rebuilt to an office for Enpuls, one of our partners. And you have to know that a large part of our grid is an open air museum. So it's all components over, well, 50 years old, and somewhat younger, of course. And it was not designed and not built for a bottom-up energy system and use. But now we are going there, so we want to learn and see how can we still
engage and take part in that new system and even enable it, while not getting into chaos. Or maybe if there will be chaos, despite that still the grids are working for everyone. So I think that's why we are taking part in this event, and I'm really curious to see how it will work, how our grid tariffs can influence what's happening in the local markets. But it's also a way for us to meet other ideas. How can you organize energy markets which have been quite the same for the past 100 years and may change very rapidly in the coming 5 to 10 years? So also to be aware of what is happening, what new technologies are coming there, which people are thinking about new ideas. So we're really happy to be there, and I think this is a start and warming up also up to the way to November for the big hackathon with Odyssey.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, Jan. I'm strongly convinced that actually such a system, and it's not like that you just you joined us trying this kind of market design that we're trying to prove here. You actually had the same market design already developed from your own side. So that was the interesting part here. You call it the local layered energy market. We call it D3A, but at the end, it's exactly the same thing, which is a proof point for me already. And there is many research projects that went into this direction. Fractal grid, cellular markets in Germany, C-cells. There has been a lot of research projects around the globe trying to figure out how would it be possible to build up a bottom-up market. And I think, in this call, in the next few hours, next few days, I think what we are doing is literally kind of bleeding edge of it, where we're testing it at first in the virtual environment, and then, of course, going deeper in making it a reality. Hopefully at the hack already was something real, with real data and so forth. So, and now before handing over to Colin and to the teams, so from my perspective, what I have seen so far is I've seen the teams already testing together with Colin. So each team has tested their own strategies, and then I think we had a little trial bringing everyone together, but very little. Yesterday, I believe at 12. No, and so now soon we're gonna see like the full-blown thing. So, Colin, please.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. And thanks to all of our partners too. So before we jump in, one more quick introduction, and then we'll do the group photo. So Stefan from Odyssey is also here, and he's helped kind of put together the structure of the debrief sessions and things like that. So expect to see him as well at the first debrief session for sure. And thanks for your support there too, Stefan. But let's get going.
Good luck to the teams.
Yeah, good luck for sure.
Thanks everyone, and it's going to be cool.